You're welcome back. Now, there is an open window for all eligible applicants who were unable to get their Ghana cards after a mass registration exercise ended in their vicinities. The National Identification Authority just ended the mass registration for communities under Accra West. JoyNews' Sarah Josu spoke to a number of disappointed applicants who are calling for an extension of the period.
The Accra West Zone registration was started on the 29th of April, ended on Saturday, May 25, with most applicants unregistered and calling for an extension. Some of the centers we visited included Afropa House at North Kanishi, the EP Church at Odoko Official Town, and the St. Martin de Porres School in Dansoman. Some applicants who spoke to JoyNews lamented the alleged preferential treatment being given to those who were willing to pay a token in order to fast-track the process.
I've not been able to register. I came here since last week, and since from then I've not been able to register till now. And today when I came, they told me the form is finished. So I don't know what's going on. I should go to another place again. So I don't know what's going on with this registration. It's too bad.
All we are saying is that we are appealing to the NIA to extend the exercise, because honestly speaking, it's not helping, and there are a lot of people here too. So they should try and then do something about it. Yeah, that is what we want. And so far it has been smoothly, conducted. We are happy. Yeah, we are happy, but we still need extension so that those here can also, do their own.
Mimi as I said the idea na ekọ ne say ye nuanom na omo ya ade no omo awo akọje card we wo omo na nke wo say instant na wo de nya instant mpo a omo mama yi forms ni bi na omo fele eti ama ho na choki ne omo ye ne ma obi akoma nto ne yem kra ma ye me de.
We are not happy with the way things are going. There are forms available, but they are reserving it for their friends and loved ones, and that is what is causing the congestion.
Forms now, nipa also feeling. You know, man, feel wa fabi. Obi kwa be request so oja feeling am obi a wa say. Omo si there be no nipa bi ba. Na we yes e say my 10 days wa amoko. Ya na we area ya na nwie na we yansa e fair.
I think it's much important for it to extend, to give us an extension, because there's no sense in giving us 1 month to register, because the government must watch the kind of people who are collecting this protocol. They are taking the money from people. They should stop. All these things are going against the law. We are all Ghanaians. We must be wise and must do things which are right. We must stop taking people's money because of this small 20 city, 30 city. What is going to do you? You are being paid about 10 million when a month goes to an end with this registration. Then at the end of the day, then you go at the back and go and take someone's 20 CD. Then the person will just curse you. We just heard in the news that someone just took 60 CDs and they charge him 1,000. So when they sack the person, you'll be next. So it should be advised to do all the people who are under sentence, who are taking people's money. We are all Ghanaians. We must be wise. Think twice. Don't think once. Opportunities come but once. So when you die only once. So use your brain and do things right. That's final.
Officials at the various centers indicated that the limited time frame and erratic network issues were to blame for these mishaps.
Well, we got a message yesterday night that we should close at 5. Just deal with the enrollment. That's the people who are capturing their data. So you are still on it, and then hopefully maybe by 5, as I said, we'll be done and then we'll pack everything and go.
The issue is that today is our closing day, so we can't serve them. So that's why we told them there is no form, but there is form, but we can't serve them.
Sometimes the network can jump about 1 hour, 30 minutes, and it delays the job. We will be granting, so sometimes we have to pause it for the applicants to pass through the enrollments before we can restart again. So like if it's happening that the network is working all right, that will not have a problem about the job that we are doing.
Attempts to get in touch with the National Identification Authority, however, proved futile. Reporting for JoyNews, Sarah Josu.
Right, well, the National Identification Authority says that it has an open window for such applicants after the mass registration. Head of Corporate Affairs, Francis Palmdetti, is here in the studio with me so we can get further understanding of this and other issues surrounding the exercise. Mr. Palmdetti, thank you so much for your time with us.
It's a pleasure.
Well, so much feedback from those attempting to use the process, and it appears that there are quite a number of examples of difficulties, and we've heard some explanations for some of them. What's the real problem here? Is it the network thing, the internet? What exactly is the biggest factor causing these delays?
I mean, looking at the footage, you could tell the enthusiasm and the energy and the desire to get the Ghana card. A lot of people have appreciated the importance of this particular exercise and the card we are issuing. If you recall, the opposition party, NDC, the leadership called on its members to also go ahead and register. So you find a lot of people moving to the centers to register. Now, we have mentioned time and again that within a given day, working between 8 to 5, we can only register X number. We can't do beyond 120 in a day. But you also cannot regulate people and their decisions to come to the center on a particular day.
Right.
So you have people flocking in. Some are in excess of the number we want to work with in a day, and it creates that kind of a situation. We've also had challenges with network. We've had challenges with what we call something adjudication. When a record has a problem, it goes into adjudication.
Yeah.
And we noticed that there was a long queue in adjudication, which affected the instant issuance. But we just want to assure the general public that the exercise we are doing now is called mass registration. The law requires that we do a mass registration first before we go on to continuous registration. So after mass registration, the authority will set up offices in every district and the regional capitals to take care of persons who are eligible and who have not been registered. So if you do not register during the mass registration, the door is not closed. You would have the opportunity again when we start opening registration centers within the various districts. So we'll allay the fears of those who did not register. Now, we also have quite a backlog of cards that have not been picked up. So we have decided to set up collection points in every municipality where we have conducted registration. We would, in the next few days, bring out the schedule and the exact locations where these people can go pick up their cards. As we speak, we are just doing retrieval of equipment and consumables. We'll be moving to Accra East from the 4th of June to the 6th of July. Accra East is made up of 17 municipalities. We have Ayawaso West, Ogon, Ayawaso Central, North and East. We have Kole Klote, Lejokuku, Krowo, Lada de Kotopon, Tema East, West and Central, Adan East and West, Shayo Sudoku, Ashaiman, Ningo Pram Pram. They make up, and Konkatamanso, they make up the 17 municipalities to be tackling from the 4th to the 6th of July.
Right, okay. Now, you've explained something quite important, that you actually know the maximum number you can do in any given day. But these people queue up in their dozens.
Yes.
So is it not simpler to simply count, and then after the 120th person, tell person number 121 onwards that there's no point queuing, we won't get to you today, please come back tomorrow, or relax and just take advantage of the continuing registration exercise when it begins? Why not do that?
Our officials do that. Now, what we have observed is that people come as early as 2 a.m. and form a queue. So when people come in the morning thinking, oh, the center opens at 8, I'm coming in to register, the queue that is waiting is in excess of 120. Now, when our officials tell them that, sorry, with what we have, we cannot register you, they think the officials are playing tricks on them and they'll have to wait and see. And the waiting keeps going. It goes on for a while, and then finally they're frustrated, they get back, and naturally they'll be upset.
It didn't take 5 seconds for you to explain it to me and to our audience.
Yes.
Why are your officials struggling to explain to these people that 120 is the maximum? No matter what happens in the physical space we occupy on Earth, we cannot do more than 120 in a day. So come back later. You haven't lost the opportunity. Why is it difficult to explain that?
Okay, you know, there's this kind of mistrust that some people have about officialdom and things that are done in the public. They always think that there's some backdoor arrangement or there's some fishy deal going on, and so don't take what they tell you with a pinch of salt. And so don't be too sure when they say 120. So it's possible that, I mean, people based on such cynicism will not take what you are saying, and they would want to hang around and wait. We hope that having with the experience of Accra West, there are a few things we are putting in place. We also would want, the adjudication is a process where individual records are paid attention to either pass them or to hold them. Now we have expanded the scope of that particular arrangement. So going to Accra East, we are hoping that things will move a bit faster than in Accra West. We also hope that with the communication and the feedback we've had, the conversation we've had, those in Accra East would appreciate that in a given day we can only do X number of people, and we are calling for their cooperation. It's not a situation where after mass registration that's it. We would surely give them the opportunity to. It's in our interest as NIA to have every eligible Ghanaian register, because the card is issued for free. Now it is in the usage of the card that NIA is likely to generate any kind of income for itself. So we will be shooting ourselves in the foot if we deliberately try to prevent people from registering. We would want every Ghanaian who's eligible to register, and we are calling on them to be patient. If it gets to your turn, just go peacefully and register. We also have had issues where some so-called influential people in the communities try not to join the queue, want to bulldoze their way through, and it gives our officials problems.
Right.
We have instructed our officials to also consider the vulnerable. There are times when you see an elderly person above 60, lactating mother, pregnant woman, physically disabled person, we bring them forward. And when our officials do that, sometimes the public is upset, and because they've been around for a while, they don't see why you should give these individuals the privilege or the chance to come forward. But this is a legal obligation. As an authority, we are supposed to make room for persons who find themselves in a vulnerable state. And so when we do that, we urge the public to be patient with our officials.
It sounds to me like this is not a logistics problem. It's not a data or internet problem. It's not a staff or capacity problem. It's a communication problem. And they ought to be the easiest problems to solve in any organization. So what's the plan going forward? I mean, you've told me that you hope that those in the next area you're going to will get it, but hope can't be the strategy. How do you intend to make sure they understand?
Now, I mean, communication, you have communication in various levels and stages. You have community engagements, which is handled by ISD and NCCE. They are doing the public broadcast in the various communities. We are having advertisements on various networks, radio and TV. We have online presence. We believe that when a program is on or a project is on, it is the continual engagement with the general public through outlets like yours, the media, that will keep them informed. There are times when people will be hearing an advertisement, but they're not listening to the advertisement, they're just hearing it. It is when the event draws close that people begin to clamor for information to take part in the exercise. But we will not relent in the effort. We will continue to sensitize the public, we'll continue to speak about it, we'll continue to drum it in. It's not a lost cause. Many people have registered, some are waiting for their cards. We believe that as we go along the country for this mass registration, we would surely hit our targets, and we believe this would be in the interest of Ghana. Ghana will be better off.
Now, I saw your statement when there were some irregularities.
Yes.
So there were those who were trying to register some Nigerians.
Yes.
And then there was the one who set up one of your MRW machines in their kitchen or whatever.
In a house here somewhere.
And we're just, registering people's details. Now, I remember a couple of things occurred to me about that statement. The first one was actually what Professor Atefa said following in some interviews, that these, and there were apparently about 5 incidents in total, these 5 incidents were isolated, they were all noticed and stopped, and so the process is now, the integrity of the process is now restored. I wondered about that because if you take into account the way in which these 5 incidents were spotted, it was, not really in the hands of the authority. It was members of the community that spotted it, and on the other case, the one where somebody turned up early and noticed that these Nigerians were, she just happened to turn up early and saw this happening. They could have easily been missed. How can you account for what else is being missed out there? How do you know what else you're missing?
In every system, you have several layers of checks. Now we've amended our law to allow the general public to participate in the process. Hitherto, it was just the registration officer who could raise a challenge. If you find somebody who's ineligible appear, it was just the registration officer who could raise a challenge. Now we've amended the law to open it up to any person at all at the center could raise a challenge when they think somebody's ineligible. That should tell you the kind of posture we have towards this registration. We believe that we can only be successful when members of the community are actively involved. And for us, we are excited when we hear issues being brought up by members of the public. That's what we encourage. The other thing too is that for every official of the authority, before you log onto the system, you must key in your personal identification number with your card. Anything that is done on the system can be tracked and traced. Now, we suspended and dismissed some individuals. It was not the public. It was our own internal mechanism. We realized that some people were still going on registering even after the set time. And we could see that in our systems. So we blocked it, and then we called them in and took disciplinary action. So there are things that we can do to verify. There are other things that are in the hands of the public. So if you go and vouch for somebody who is ineligible, on the face of it, everything would look okay. But there's also the opportunity to review records, other things pop up, which would make us, if for any reason you're able to slip through the system, when that time comes, we can tell who helped you, who facilitated it, and we can prosecute such individuals.
So, for example, this MRW machine that was in somebody's kitchen, in addition to whatever they did in the kitchen, it was also used legitimately at a station, was it not?
You mean prior to that? Or
yes,
after?
Prior to it being discovered in somebody's kitchen, it was used in a
registration center.
Very good. So, are you going to be able to tell which of the people registered by that machine were registered at a center and which ones were registered in the kitchen?
Absolutely. The time. I mean, the working hours for each day is 8 to 5.
Yeah.
Anything outside 5 is something we look at very closely and see who did that and which people were involved. And we can always investigate. It's not something that we cannot track.
So the ones who were registered in that kitchen, you've identified them all?
Now, what happened in that kitchen, as you described, is an official who took along the MRW machine. Now, you cannot register a person with just the MRW machine. What he sought to do with the machine is what would be unraveled with the investigations we are conducting. But like we said, any activity that goes on our systems after 5 o'clock are things that we pay attention to. There are some genuine instances where there are so many people at the center. Those who were thought to be captured within the time, it just ends up exceeding because the last person or 2 more people could not get it done by 5. So you move into maybe 5:30 or 6. But anything beyond 6, we would have to, what's going on? We need to check what's going on. So if Professor Atefa says that the system has integrity, what it means is that there are several layers of checks that are in place to enable us detect any unauthorized access or any fraudulent case going on. Even with those that we are unable to detect immediately, it's not a case of us just leaving things to chance. We, over time, will do, now there are cases where you have, let's say, an individual vouching for over 100 people. We've told the general public that those who vouch should make sure they know those they are vouching for and are vouching for them because what they claim is true. If you turn out to be some contractor vouching for just anybody, what the implication is that if it turns out that those you vouch for are actually not eligible and they are found out, you would also be roped in because your personal identification number is tied to anybody you vouch for. So there are checks and balances in the system, and we will do all it takes to ensure that the data we are capturing is credible, and that is why we are not compromising on the requirements.
Forgive me, I mean, for sort of stressing on this, but I guess we do want to have faith in the system and believe that it is the integrity has been restored, hence my sort of stress testing it. So back to this example of this machine in the kitchen, you made the point that that is not the only stage in registering a person. So this is my understanding, but please correct me if I get it wrong. In order to register, you come along, you fill a form, they take your details and check that, you check to make sure that the details you've taken are all correct from the printout. Then they go
No. When you, let me just take you through the process. When you appear at the center, you go to registration officer. He helps you fill the form. The reason why he helps you fill the form is, one, to get the information accurately, and two, there are some codes on the form you may not know. So he will help you fill that portion. When he's done, you move to the next stage. The next stage is the MRW operator, who will take your biometrics, will take your facial, and will capture the information onto the system.
And that's what the MRW machine does. Okay, good.
Then, when you are done with that, what do you call it? A slip is printed. For you to check. When that is done, you go to the printer. The printer prints the card.
Right.
The card is not active until it is issued. So you can see your card lying down. It's been printed. You can't have it, but it's not activated. It is when you place your fingers on the fingerprint reader, and the system identifies you as the holder of the card, that it issues the command, and the card is activated. The reason is that the system does not want any human interference. So it is not for a person sitting down to say, oh, this is your card, have it. It is the system that must issue the card. And that's the process it goes through.
Now, you've had people whose cards are ready to be picked up, and they haven't picked them up yet. So those people, when they come, they will have to come and do that thing.
They will have to go through the issuing process.
Very good. So this is the question I have for you. So assuming that somebody has had access to an MRW machine, registered people who ought not be registered.
When you say somebody has had access, what does that mean?
One of your staff, somebody has, taken it someplace they shouldn't, like how somebody took it to their home or whatever.
I'm saying that we haven't had any record of that.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay.
I'm with you. This is the one we know of.
Okay.
Okay. Now, and we got to know of it because of some people's vigilance, if you like. So assuming this has happened, or let's even use the same example of the one that we know of, where this machine was taken to somebody's house. Let's say they then go ahead and register 100 people. Okay. Now, the cards will be issued for those 100 people because they have taken them through the MRW process. So the cards will be issued, and then they will now be one of those numerous cards waiting to be picked up. All the person has to do is turn up, put their prints on the thing, and they now are a Ghanaian.
No, but so we are using that same story.
Yes.
Now, with that same story, those who arrested the individual, there were no other persons waiting to be registered.
On that occasion?
Yes.
Do you know how many times that machine had been taken home by this member of staff?
No, but if this is something that is an investigation which is ongoing, and for you to have the machine with you, then the machine is not in use. The machines are kept after close of work. The CRO ensures that every equipment is in place and it is kept. We need to find out how this person managed to get the laptop to go and do what he was trying to do. But what I can say is that things happen. And out of what has happened, you get to know whether there are any gaps in the system you need to fill. And in this particular case, the police is investigating. We also are taking keen interest in what has happened. And I believe these are things that we pick along as we move on. And they would help strengthen whatever checks we have in place on the field.
Mr. Francis Pamdeti, we really want your organization to succeed. It's important for Ghanaians to have a national identity that can be trusted and that can be used to make life easier and access all sorts of facilities. So we appreciate the work you're doing. We hope that it gets even better and we have a credible Ghana card at the end of it. Thank you very much for your time.